Oh my God, the light is green.
Get those words!
All right, guys. Holy cow. Look at this. We are live at Radwood 2021. The first one, the headphone thing is just not going to work. We're just going to have to, the latency is really bad. Yeah. Hi, everybody. Where's the camera? Welcome to Bidner's, your daily nerd out on the most interesting cars of the day on all the automotive enthusiast auction sites. We are here live today at Radwood 2021. This is the first Radwood we've seen in over a year. Yeah. We're in the Bay Area. I'm John Polnick along with my partner Michael Deeb. What is going on, Michael Deeb? We're here. Look at all these cars.
Unbelievable. I can't believe we're here. Radwood is back, and the turnout is epic. We're talking record, gonna break some records here for spectators.
That's the word on the street. We know that they have more cars that have ever pre-registered before, and the spectators, I mean, this show just opened up about 15 minutes ago, and it is mobbed in here. If you are a fan of 80s and 90s cars, this is where it's at. We have Lamborghini Countaches, we've got my Maserati B-Turbo, we got Michael Deeb's Cosworth 190 right behind me. Every single type of 80s and 90s car you can think of is pretty much here at Radwood. What do you? We just walked around the show, Michael Deeb. What'd you think?
I'm impressed. I'm really impressed. The boys, the DWA guys that know us, we're talking about Austin a couple of years ago had a record number of cars at over 600, but they're expecting somewhere between 530 and 550 registered automobiles on display. And as you and I walked around, we saw these great little pockets of a bunch of Subarus, we saw a bunch of E30s, we've seen a bunch of Alfa Romeo Milanos. I mean, there is an incredible turnout of cars, and the enthusiasm is what you'd expect from Radwood. It's a sunny day, and people have been cooped up for, a year and a half, and you can feel it. Like everybody's, everybody's out of their tree. All the monkeys are out of the tree, JP. This is pretty fun. I'm so glad we're here.
Michael Deeb, hold on. And so for everyone at home, we are doing this live. We have our little, this is obviously not our usual setup, and so we're going to have all kinds of technical issues. Esther, when Michael is talking, does his voice come on the screen? Yeah, just barely. But mine is loud. Yeah, I don't know how to
mine
change
is weak.
That. Yeah.
Talk louder into the mic like that.
Well, right. Yeah, but the problem there is then it's too loud on the feed. So the feed is more important than that.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Nobody needs to hear me.
About that.
Nobody's listening.
Sorry, everybody.
Anyway.
You're just going to have to live with our technical problems today out there. We wish you were here if you're not. Radwood is one of the best car events of all time. I don't know if there's have you ever had more fun at any car event other than Radwood?
Well, I have to say, I think the two Radwoods that I've been to, both with you, we did the Peterson Auto Museum on the roof, and then we did the one in Vegas, which wasn't the greatest one.
Okay.
So I think today stands to be that. Living here, kind of like the professor, I've gone to a lot of Monterey stuff, and I've had a blast at Concorso Italiano, Works Reunion with you a couple years ago, and so I've had some real fun in Monterey. But I think this Radwood, for me, will be my best Radwood. I know you've been to some very special Radwoods, some of the early ones, and I think that's really cool. But I think this will be the first time I've had this much fun from the era when we grew up.
Right?
There's so many cars here that strike such a nostalgic chord, and seeing everybody dressed and stuff is just hilarious.
The outfits are absolutely incredible. We are definitely seeing people wearing some super dope stuff.
I don't know if you can see these, right?
Well, hold on. There you go.
Yeah. I'm dressed like a Solo Cup.
He is dressed. Someone had a Solo Cup over here. You could have seen what he was wearing. Was it? Yeah.
Yeah. So, pretty cool stuff, man. I'm impressed.
Guys, we are live on YouTube and Facebook at Bidnerds. Man, there's a few people watching now. Please give us comments. Let us know if there's any of the cars you want us to talk about. We're just doing craziness here. This is not a normal show where we pick the most interesting cars of the day and make predictions that are totally wrong. Today we're just doing a live show at a live event, And man,
we're winging it.
We're totally winging
We're
it.
totally winging it. Live without a net. We met Tom from San Francisco. Apparently, he's 40% of our registered audience. He came up and introduced himself, and that was, I'd say, JP, listening to him introduce himself to you and talk about how cool it was to meet you. He says he watches every day. I think that's awesome. There's people we don't know out there that are kind of getting a kick out of the show and talking about, oh, I was so happy when I found you guys, because I do the same thing where I get the email from all the different things and I'm watching cars and waiting to see what they run for. And, that was sort of the premise and the inspiration for the show, is to kind of geek out and talk about the cars before they close instead of meeting at the water cooler and talking about them after they close. So, anyway, a little shout out to our one of our number one fans, Tom from San Francisco.
Deep, I'm going to have you come over. Actually, just stay where you're at. And what I want you to do is talk about the cars that I'm going to go show people. I'm going to see how far this network even works.
Okay, and where am I going to see them?
It doesn't. Right here.
Okay, so I need to at least move over a little bit.
Just make sure you're talking directly into your microphone.
All right. All right, JP. So JP is walking up to a Lamborghini Countach that is, somebody beached it in the fire lane right in front of the Bid Nerds booth. This thing is pure exotica. Look at that car. Classic red with the Hyundai wing, the $5,000 option rear spoiler with gold wheels. I mean, that is the car that everybody my age had on their bedroom when they were a teenager. So that's pretty cool to see one of those here. Might be the only Lamborghini in the show, which is surprising considering we're in the Bay Area. You'd expect to see a few more of those. Which one, the Mini or the Lancia? Yeah, the Lancia. So, all right, JP. JP, go look at the Supra. So this is a Toyota Celica Supra from the early 80s, and look at the condition of this car. The paint and everything is original. It's been immaculately preserved. That car is spectacular, and that car came down with us. You can see the Bid Nerds tennis balls on the side of the fender wells. This car was awesome. Our friend Yuri is driving that today. It's frozen. Yeah, a little too far, but still pretty cool. Yeah, come look at this Lancia. So Marco from Euro Classics, that's in the Bay Area, brought this Lancia Delta Integrale. Marco, is this an Evo 2? You can tell by the seats, right? That gives it away. So the Evo 2 is bigger turbo, a little more horsepower, but and easier to drive than the one, right? The Evo.
They can't hear you, man. You heard
okay.
What he said.
So the Evo 2 has a smaller turbo with higher boost. It's a more refined driving car. I don't think the turbo comes on as hard, so it makes it a little easier to drive. A teeny bit more horsepower, but it's a more refined car, and it was the last of the breed. 1994 was the last year. I'm guessing this is a 94. What's the name of that color, Marco? The dealer collection. They made 25 or 170 of the dealer, and they only came in this colorway, this candy apple with the tan suede seats. Leather and suede? Is there Alcantara in there? That's leather. So they're pure leather seats. Beautiful car. Stunning car. And Marco is a specialist that brings these cars in from Europe, helps you get them federalized so you can get on a U.S. title, and then you can drive what is pure unobtainium, the Lancia Delta Integrale Evo 2. And then JP is going to show you my car. This is a 1986 Mercedes 190E 2.3 16 valve. I found this car on the East Coast in December and bought it off a P-Car Market, and it has like 77,000 original miles. The 2.3 16 valve has the Cosworth head, and it's an interesting collaboration between the UK specialist and the German mega manufacturer. It's interesting to see that Mercedes went to the UK to find a racing specialist to produce a racing head for their car so that they could take it rally racing. And of course, while they were doing all the R&D on this car, Audi came up with the Quattro all-wheel drive system, and the W201 was instantly antiquated for rallying. So Mercedes instead took the car touring car racing and did really well and helped produce a great rivalry with the E30 BMW. But I've owned a couple of these, and they're really nice. So JP's now looking at a 964 Targa, which is a spectacular car. This belongs to Tom from San Francisco. He's been looking for a year and found this really nice sub 100,000 mile car, and you can see in the silver with the black roll bar, really nice car, really nice condition, and these have just jumped in value in the last year. These cars are pushing now $100,000, so it's pretty spectacular. JP's now looking at looks like an M505, a factory slant nose convertible. Not sure what year that is. Chances are it's got a 4-speed, but that is an unbelievable turbocharged factory nose job car. That is a spectacular car. So what do you say? What? I'm not even sure, JP. You got to read the back of it. I know it's some Japanese thing. Oh, look at that. That's my wife. She's not for sale. She's rad for hire. They're going to get pizza.
So what's the deal with this Lambo just parking in front of our booth
I don't know.
and our cars?
The irony is he's brought all this attention to the show. Everybody's watching. Can you see the Maserati from over from behind the lot? Yeah. So JP and Yuri bought this Maserati Biturbo SI, which is the first evolution of the Biturbo. The car is showing 24,000 miles, but we're not positive if that's accurate. But this car just got tuned up and is just running, and JP just got to drive it for the first time today down here to the show. And you got to say, when you consider the early 80s, a twin-turbo V6, it makes a lot of boost, a lot of torque. It's got a dogleg 5-speed, and it drives amazing. JP was actually impressed. Being a hardcore Porsche guy, he was reluctantly surprised by how nice the Biturbo drives. So JP, the question is, are you going to keep it or are you going to sell it? We'll see. Yeah, big shrug.
Love that hat. Love it.
What's up, Jason?
How you doing?
Yeah, good, man.
You enjoying our California weather right
Yeah, loving it, man. Jason, sit down. Yeah.
What's up, brother?
Sit down, man.
Enjoying the Radwood.
Yeah.
Radwood.
Talk into the mic so we can hear you. So Jason is from Burlingame,
Well, South San Francisco.
South San Francisco.
I have a car lot up in Burlingame, and
What's it called?
Jason the Car Guys, where we love cars.
Yeah.
We have nothing in particular. I'm not car racist.
Yeah.
Everything's on the board, from Honda, Toyota to Ferrari to a nice Lambo. I won't say no, as long as the price is right?
So how'd you get into cars? What started it for you?
So that's the best part. So the best part is I grew up doing this.
Okay.
I started off when I was 10 years old. My
Really?
dad was a car salesman, doing no lot, nothing like that, just on the street hustle.
Yeah.
And I'm a natural born hustler. I'm
Yes.
a natural
Yes.
breed.
That-
It came to me naturally. So the car business, the wheeling and dealing,
Yeah.
I sold my first car
Yeah.
when I was 12 years old.
No way. What was it?
It was a Hyundai Elantra. So I'll tell you the story.
Yeah.
I was a young kid.
Yeah.
Me and my dad was in Honolulu, Hawaii at the time.
Yep.
We drove down to the newspaper to get to put his car into classifieds.
Yeah.
There was this kid outside who was having lunch. I talked to him, sparked up a conversation. He told me he was selling his car. I told him we sell cars. So we got to talking. My dad talked to him, of course. And before you know it, I bought his car.
Amazing.
And when I bought his car, I made a deal with him.
Yeah.
I said, I'll give you $100 more if you give me the inserts from the newspaper. 12-year-old, wheeling and dealing, right? So the inserts for the newspaper was the classified a day ahead of time.
Yeah.
So I would get the classified ads a day before everybody else.
Oh, wow.
So by the time I was 15, I was already a car salesman pro.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I sold a bunch of cars, and tell you what, they say you don't. How do they say that? How's that saying go? If you love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
And it's so true. I have a passion for cars. I don't know everything about cars.
Yeah.
I got my buddy Josh here,
Yeah.
who sometimes, he informs me and tells me what things are worth sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I get caught up in the hype sometimes. I just
Yeah.
see something, I'm like, I gotta have it. Then I call Josh,
Yeah.
right over there, who tells me what something's worth. He puts me in check.
Yeah.
Because my wife won't ever do it. So I got Josh to be my wife right there to tell me what to do and what not to do sometimes.
That's
But
great.
it's good stuff. I love
Is
cars.
your dad still with us?
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Yes,
Does
he
he
is.
still play with the cars?
Oh, he still plays with cars. So what I did was, 7 years ago, or 8 years ago. Wow, it's been so long. I found 2 Corvettes, split window Corvettes.
S63s.
In my backyard. I actually show you a picture. I just
Yeah.
took them, and I left them in his garage, and he toys with them, and that's his hobby now.
Oh, that's great.
That's what he likes to do.
So, yeah. So he's working on them now and you're selling them.
I don't know about working on them too much, but
he
he
plays
definitely
with
plays with them. He
Yeah,
washes
that's
them.
great. Yeah.
He takes them out and he enjoys them. Yes.
Black and red split window.
And one's a
coupes.
Fuelie.
Oh, wow. The red one's a Fuelie.
Red one's a Fuelie.
That's
So
fantastic.
the funny story was, I bought the car from one owner. One
Oh my
owner.
God.
So the guy's dad passed away.
That's a hell of a find.
It's a hell of a find.
Yeah.
I was supposed to buy the one car for $65.
Yeah.
So I told the guy on the phone when I found this on Craigslist, I told him all I can afford is $50,000.
Yeah.
He goes, that's fine. I go, I'm going to give you a week to think about it
Yeah.
because I can't afford anything else.
Right.
So if it's yes, call me. If it's no, don't ever call me again.
Yeah.
1 week later, he calls me. He says, come on down. I'll take you $50,000. I go, make sure I cannot give you 50,100. That's all I have. I'm maxed out. Went there, opened the garage, just picked it up. You like you see in the movies? Opened the garage. I was like a kid in a candy store. I'm like shocked. So they told me there's a red parts car off into the corner. So I look at this. Yeah. So I look at this car. I go, guess what? Sold.
Yeah.
I want it. It's done. It's a done deal. Then he goes, okay, Jason, that'll be 65 grand. So I look him dead in the eye, and I say, you son of a bitch. Hey, bird nerds.
Hey.
Bid nerds. So long story short, I swear the guy told me you're a bad businessman.
Yeah.
He goes, what do you want me to do? I go, no, I want the parts car and this car.
Yeah.
He goes, could you give me 75 for both?
Yeah.
I go, no, but I'll give you 65. I gave him 65 grand. I bring the red car out of the garage.
Yeah.
All it needed was the interior, and he had all the interior parts.
So you ripped it.
I ripped it.
That's amazing.
I ripped it. I had the car since. I love them both.
That's
Never
cool.
going to be for
And your
sale.
dad plays with them. Your dad gets to drive
So what
around.
happened was I gave my dad the black one.
Yeah.
I kept the red one, and we raced home.
That's
He
fantastic.
beat me. The Fuely don't got much power. The 340 horse beat me, but yeah. How about you? How did you get into this business? How did you get into cars?
So my dad. So I was telling you, my father grew up in Damascus, Syria.
Right.
My grandfather imported cars.
I'm going to get a little bit closer here. We're going to interview.
Yeah.
We're interviewing
Yeah.
Bid Nerds. He needs to tell us his story. Go ahead, continue.
My grandfather imported cars to the Middle East.
Oh, nice.
In Damascus, Syria is 2.5 hours from Beirut, Lebanon.
Wow.
So Beirut was the deep water port to deliver cars from France, from Italy, and from the U.S. So
that's
he
cool.
brought in French cars, Italian cars, and American cars. And so my dad and my uncles grew up in the car business with my grandfather.
Nice.
And my mom, who's Irish American, jokes about my dad's Middle Eastern family because I'm like the third generation car guy. And she says, you come from a long line of horse traders, which is really cool. So anytime one of my uncles would show up at the house in a new car, everybody would empty onto the sidewalk and we'd go walk around in the street to look at whoever brought home in the 1970s, a Cadillac or
So
something.
you are also a natural
So
breed.
like you, yeah. And
think
my
the
dad was a
natural breed
hustler.
is-
My dad would buy and sell cars all the time.
I think the natural breed
Yeah.
is an advantage because it just comes naturally. It
Absolutely.
really does.
We didn't do it as officially as you did, but my dad always had 2 or 3 cars that he loved to wipe with a diaper, and it was just really fun. I kind of grew up with
See,
it.
not everybody knows about the diaper rag.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. If you wiped my dad's car with anything else but a diaper rag, you would get 5 across the face because he has a 97 Chevy Tahoe with 11,000 miles.
Yeah.
And I promise you, if it doesn't have over 500 coats of wax on it from being waxed daily, it's remarkable.
When I was in my 20s, my dad had a bunch of Italian cars, and we would drive a car either on a car event or down to grandma's in Foster City from the city.
Nice.
And when we'd come home, I'd be tired at the end of the day. We had 2 different apartments in the same building.
Nice.
And I'd just want to park the car and go to bed. He's like, where are you going? I was like, what do you mean? He goes, we have to wash the car. And I'm
Yes,
like,
of course.
We drove it once. And we'd wash the car. We'd put a little wax on it.
Yes.
And then we'd spend 3 hours in the car and 2 hours in the garage waxing the car
Yes,
after
more
driving
time
it.
waxing
I'm like,
it, yes.
you're insane. I just don't. I'm not as fanatical about washing the
Same
car
here.
as he is.
I'd rather pay somebody. I'm being honest.
Absolutely.
I don't know if it's the weight, but even when I was skinny, I have a passion to drive the cars, buy them, and own them.
Yeah.
I don't have a passion to wash them.
But
I could appreciate a nice washed car, though, for sure.
But like you have Josh, Esther and I moved to Vegas about 4 years ago. I met JP. We were working with the same Porsche dealership, and I met my doppelganger. Like,
Nice,
we love
nice.
cars, go crazy, call each other and check. Should I do this? He's like, you're nuts, but get it. I'll run this, but don't go a dollar more.
You need somebody like that.
Oh, you
What
have
happens?
to.
You'll be
You
broke.
have to. I know. Absolutely.
You'll be broke. You'll buy everything up. So
my
I got
God.
Josh check me every now and then. So I got a network of guys.
JP doesn't know it, but he's my escape. Like every time I buy this car, I'm like, well, JP told me to get it. My wife was going to kill me. Like, oh my God.
The JP said so. I have no choice.
Totally. He said it was a really good idea.
So let me tell you about my operation really quick. I have a business in Burlingame called Jason the Car Guys.
Yeah.
I have over 60 people across the United States always calling me constantly about a car.
Yep.
They find garage finds. They find people selling their cars.
Yep.
They give me a call and I give finder's fees. I gave finder's fees all the way up to just 15 grand to show me a car.
Right.
And if I bought it, you make 15 grand off the top. No questions asked.
Wow.
And I treat everybody fairly.
Yep.
I treat everybody with respect because I want to be treated the same way.
So if somebody wants to look at your inventory of cars, do they go online? Do you have like a warehouse? How do they see your
So
cars?
I have a
What
car
do you
lot. I'm not the online guy just yet. I'm getting into that now. I know I'm supposed to be because that's the business now. But I'm starting to get myself out there now. I just went official back in December. So I'm just kind of
So you
getting
got your
the
dealer
wheels
license?
going. Yes, I got dealer's license, got everything. I basically went legit, right? I stopped the street hustle.
So they fingerprinted you and still gave you a license?
They fingerprinted me and still gave me the license. I don't know how.
Not
until
your
today.
dad. Your dad couldn't
No,
get it.
I think Josh had something to do with it, though. I think he helped me out, I'll be honest.
Yeah, so are you...
Yes, I'm a fellow
bring them
reader. So I've been following Bat
Yeah.
when Bat was, sorry, Bat, when Bat was cooler.
Yeah.
Back when there was only maybe
When they owned
4
it.
cars uploaded maybe a day, right?
When they owned it,
and
yeah.
you could have actually bought something.
They sold out to Hearst Media.
Well, you
now.
know, I mean, I don't
Still
blame
in the
them. They
brand.
got too big and they couldn't control it. I think they had no choice but to sell out because they couldn't control
I think they
the
sold
mass
it-
quantities.
I think they sold the company for like $60 million. They all got paid. They did
Oh,
great.
nice.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I remember them when they were smaller and it was a cool operation. It still is.
Yeah.
But Rad is up and coming.
So tell me about the first car you're going to put on bat. Is it that BMW?
So no, I actually sold 6 cars on bat.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I had a Volvo turbo wagon. I had another 240 DL. I had an Evo with 3,900 miles, but bat would not say 3,900 miles. They kept saying 4,000 miles, which really pissed me off
Yeah.
because I would not drive that car to keep it at 3,900 miles.
What Evo? Evo what?
Evo 9.
Evo 9. Okay.
Yeah, it was
Mitsubishi.
one of the last. Yeah,
Yeah,
Mitsubishi. It was one of the last body styles. That body style, and it was great.
Have you sold? Did you put anything on the online auction that didn't sell, that failed to sell at the Hammer?
So I did have one car.
Tell me about that.
So here's what
How
happened.
frustrating was that?
Let me tell you something. I was actually bat. It's the last seconds that everything goes crazy, right?
Right.
So I decided to take myself out because I go to lunch by myself.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I always do it. I enjoy eating by myself. When I want to have time or I'm doing something, I don't want to be bothered.
Yeah.
So I go have my. I like my lunches, as you can tell as well. So I go have a lunch because my auction is getting ready to end at like 12 or 12:30. My car's right around I think $3,500. I want at least $8,500, which is not a bad deal.
Right.
And the car was super nice with low mileage. And here I am waiting, 36. 37. They're just going up by small, and usually, somebody's supposed to come over the top, at least say 7 or something, right?
Yeah, yeah.
The
Wait
car
for the
ended up
knockout
selling.
bid.
The car ended up selling for $5,000.
Were you pissed?
I was like, "Are you serious? What's going on?" I'm like, somebody got a deal. I'm not happy.
Did
Whatever
you
I'm
run
saying.
it no reserve then? Is that what happened?
So that bat talked me into no reserve.
yeah.
I wasn't happy, but I was still going to sell the car for $5,000.
Yeah.
But the guy who was nice enough who won the bid agreed with me and gave me $1,000 extra.
Oh, wow.
He said $5,000 is not enough for this car. I agree with you. I go, look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you have to. I mean, and this is what I like about bat. There's good stories and bad stories. There's a lot of bad commenters that come on there and trash your car, but there's also people who respect the car community, who get on and understand things.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough to meet a good buyer who understood the situation
Yeah.
and ended up giving me $1,000 extra when he didn't have to.
Yeah, and that's really nice.
that didn't force me, though.
That's
I told you
uncommon.
that's-
Your results may vary.
Yeah, your results may vary for sure. But you guys having fun?
Yeah, man, this is great. It's the first time we've gone with the mobile unit. So
Well, I think you guys are doing a good job. You guys are awesome. I met you guys earlier. You guys were kind enough to come take a look at my car.
Yeah.
I am going to be featuring a car in bat. I'm going to do either a white glove or I'm going to see what they give me. It's a 89 325i with a little over 11,000 original miles.
incredible and a hard time.
With a hard top, factory BMW hard top.
Manual transmission.
Manual transmission.
Alpine white.
Alpine white, all stock, completely stock, never been repainted.
Is the interior black or dark gray?
Black.
Black. No, it's a sweet car.
It's a very nice car. I actually drove it here. Runs good. Ice cold air conditioning. The original radio. Everything works just fine. So look out for it. It's going to be on Bring a Trailer. Hopefully, either by the end of the month or we know how Bring a Trailer is not so longer.
We exchange numbers. You let us know when you know that the car is going to be on, and we'll review the car. We'll
Yes,
talk about it.
please. Yes, that'd be
we'll
awesome.
blow it up. We'll get a little bid nerd mojo.
You in a Maserati.
Yeah. Can we interest you in a Maserati? Yeah, you want to sell a car for us?
I need to ask Josh. Where's Josh? Josh, are you still here or did he leave me?
You speak Italian? You like the little panini maker? JP just bought this B-Turbo SI and just drove it for the first time today. They just got it tuned up and running and drove it
Nice.
down here. It runs strong, but those cars are loosey-goosey. There's
Yeah,
always,
I mean, yes.
It's like Mr. Sticks and Plates. One thing starts to go and then another thing starts to go.
Well, that's the fun thing. As long as your pockets can handle it, it's all good fun.
I don't think you can. JP is what we call faint of wallet.
Oh, I think we all got that sometimes, don't we? Don't we all run into that sometimes? There was plenty of times I call it, it's a champagne taste with a beer budget.
Right. That's right.
Flint's malt liquor.
That's it.
That's exactly right.
Well, it was nice
Awesome,
having
man.
me.
Absolutely. Thank
I
you
appreciate
so
it.
much, man.
I'm going to
Appreciate
go ahead and walk around, look at some more cars.
Yeah.
These guys been awesome, guys. Follow them.
Yeah.
Follow me on Instagram. I got a website called Gypsy Barn Finds. We post your barn finds, and we also buy them.
That's awesome, man.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Jason.
See you, Jason. Good job. All right.
Dude, he could take over the show.
That was Jason from
Yeah.
Gypsy Barn
All
Finds. Check them
charisma.
out. Yeah. Thanks,
That was
Jason.
great.
All right, he should buy my Maserati.
You should buy it, yeah.
He would look good in that car with that gold chain, man. Come on. Take that thing out of here. All right, guys. Well, if you're just tuning in, you are watching a very special edition of Bid Nerds, your daily nerd out on the most interesting cars of the day on all the automotive enthusiast auction sites. There are no auctions here at Radwood today. There are probably some auctions closing on BAT, but we're not covering any of that. We're just here enjoying the sunshine and the ambiance and all our friends that are finally out and about with our cars. We parked our Maserati and the Celica over there, but we got somebody in a Lamborghini just plopped it right in the fire lane, and we're okay with that because they've kind of leveled us up.
Yeah, you expect that from a BMW, that a BMW owner would just park his car right in the middle of the show and be like,
should we just go ahead and put a Bid Nerd sticker on the Lambo?
I guarantee
since
no
they're
one show up.
Apparently part of our program where they've parked, because all right. Oh, what do we got here? Okay,
Japanese fire department. Look at
fire
that.
department showing up right there because we're on fire here at the Radwood. Man,
it's the smallest fire truck I've ever seen. What does that put out?
They have small fires in Japan. I mean, come on. So I don't know. They have cute fires.
Really
They're
cute fires.
cuddly, adorable Pikachu fires, apparently. Oh, man. Yeah, we're struggling to come up with things to talk about, and now we're talking about Pikachu. There's seriously problems right there, right?
I think we're doing great.
We're doing great now. I'm just kidding around. We really are having a great time. What's your favorite car that you've seen? We walked around before the show as they were setting up, and there was some pretty darn interesting stuff out there.
So here's the thing. There's the cars because you've driven them, and then there's the cars that the one that got away, and so there's 3 Alfa Milano Verdes here, and that last one we looked at was bone stock. Even though that burgundy color one was kind of hot because I've never seen it before, because the black one's stock, I like that one the best, and so I can't stop thinking about that car because I've wanted to own one and I haven't owned it. So that car's got me going. Marco's got this Lancia Delta Integrale Evo 2 next to us. That's literally right next to me. That car's also hot. I really want one of those, but I don't think I can afford them anymore. They've gone through the roof. You used to be able to buy that car for $30,000. Now they're $130,000. And then we've seen there's at least a half dozen E30 M3s. And the last one, JP, how about that F355 GTS, that Ferrari GTS, red tan, and it's a Targa roof, and it's a manual transmission. You and I would probably fight over that car if either one of us could afford it. That car's pretty hot, too. So, obviously, I'm, like, hardcore on the Italian cars. Notice I said I didn't want your Maserati.
Yeah, but you could afford the Maserati.
I don't.
See, that's the thing. I mean, you've got this.
But I couldn't afford to keep it.
We've got this Lamborghini Countach sitting right in front of the Maserati. The Lamborghini is pretty nice.
Yeah.
But you could actually own that Maserati.
Think of how many times the Maserati is going to show up behind the Lambo in photos. So
yeah, right, exactly. We should have had a bigger,
Bid Nerd sticker sign on it. Why didn't you think of that?
What do you think of the costumes that we're seeing out here? I mean, that's the thing.
Look at the Saab pilots over there. Hey, how you doing?
Born from jets.
That's right. Yeah.
These crafty Swedes.
Yeah.
Jumpsuits.
That's hot.
I mean, that's part of the fun of Radwood. If you've never been to a Radwood event, the thing here they do is they bring the 80s and 90s cars, but people also dress up in period. Obviously, that's why I'm wearing my sweet Def Leppard shirt. I mean, come on.
And they Goodwood, which is what this is a derivative of, but a different era of cars. At Goodwood, everybody dresses up like post World War II. That's a thing. You get dressed up. You go to Goodwood. You
Lane
have a blast.
Skelton taking photos.
And as Lane did Radwood, everybody jumped right in, and it's like Velcro Reebok high tops and acid wash jeans and Jane Fonda workout.
Lane, get in here. Come sit down for a second and tell us about what's going on.
You sit with JP.
What?
Take my seat, Lane.
All right.
What? Wait, what?
What? Oh, it's going. We're dead air. We
Dead
are
air.
sitting here with Lane Skelton from DWA.
I don't know what's happening, dude.
I don't even know what's happening either.
I'm not a professional.
There you go. All right.
Up with you, Lane.
I have my daughter, Phoebe.
Hi, Phoebe.
Yeah.
Welcome.
So, yeah, thanks for coming out, guys. This is awesome. You guys have a cool little setup here. What
You
are we
know,
talking about?
you gave us a spot with power. Normally, we talk about the values of cars.
Yeah.
But there's no auctions closing today, so
Yep.
we just thought we're just talking about this Lamborghini that just parked right in front of us.
Yeah, how sick is that?
That's pretty dope. They
Dude.
leveled us up.
red on gold, and then you guys already talked about your sweet Maserati over there, right?
We did bring the Maserati,
Okay.
and then someone decided to come over here with the red and gold, and just kind of like go, oh, these guys are slumming it. Let's help them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome to be back here. You know, the first Radwood since it must be a year and a half. We did Austin last year, and I believe it was February, and that was the last show we had. Oh, it was leap year, so whatever leap year day was. I think it was February 29th. Yeah, that was our last show, and so it's
Over 600 cars. Is that
dude, we had like 600 or 700 cars at that event. I think 7,000 people, and that was at the Driveway in Austin, Driveway Motorsports Park. So really cool place. It was a racetrack that a guy built in his basically he had a house and he built a racetrack illegally essentially, and the city's like, hey, you can't do that, and he said, it's just the driveway to my house. And so now they do racing schools and stuff like that there, and that's where we did it. And we're going back to Austin in a couple months. Unfortunately, we're not going there because we've kind of outgrown the event, the event space, but we will be in Austin again, and then we have another show in Chicago next month.
You were 600 or 700 cars there. When do you anticipate at the new Austin?
Oh man! So we did outgrow the event in Austin, but we're actually gonna have less cars at the next event. We can just like fit more people in because the limitation there was actually spectator parking. But yeah, this venue is super cool. We're stoked on this. There's really nice shade. I like how it kind of meanders around. I keep comparing it to, we did a show 2 years ago or 2.5 years ago in England at Goodwood, and it kind of reminds me of that, the way it kind of goes behind buildings and kind of all over the place. It's really cool.
What's your favorite thing about doing these shows?
Oh man, when they're done? No. I think the best thing is just like, it's so cool. It's kind of like, I think, I grew up, and a lot of us in Radwood, we grew up going to like 80s parties and stuff in high school. It was always 80s parties, and then college you'd have 80s parties, like 90s parties, whatever. And it's kind of like it's a good icebreaker because you can't be a dick when dressed like an idiot, kind of like, you can't. It's hard to be in a bad mood when you're dressed like JP over here. It's like you
Hold
can't.
my beer.
You're not taking yourself seriously, so you're not really walking around with a chip on your shoulder, and that really is the coolest thing about most of these events is that it's the diversity. What's this?
Deeb, you look like an asshole. See, I was able to be a dick wearing this stupid outfit.
Deeb always looks like it. Yeah. But yeah, it's just one of those. I don't know, the diversity in cars, people, everything. It's really cool. So even though it's all from an era, but it's a 20-year era, and like
How many Radwoods have you done? What
we
year was your first one?
our first Radwood. I know you should get in there, dude.
I'll get, but I got all these questions.
Our first Radwood was 2017, and it was actually a Bay Area show.
Yeah, you guys did it at the Point, Oyster Point.
We did it at Oyster Point.
I wasn't there, but I heard all about it.
Yeah, that was kind of an impromptu, or not impromptu, but we planned it. But we just sold some car spots, and admission was free and everything, and it kind of blew up way bigger than we thought it would be. And
The
then our
response to Radwood has been epic. I mean, you guys
Yeah.
get ink, and everybody's all enthusiastic about it.
Yeah.
And your social media presence, I mean, it's fantastic.
I remember that was so funny because we did that show, and we're like, oh, we should probably start an Instagram account, right? So I started an Instagram account. I'm like, oh yeah, we should probably do this, because we just saw it as like we were doing a little car show, and then all of a sudden it turned into like a bigger thing, right?
movement. I mean,
yeah, it's turned into the Radwood era,
yeah,
right?
you guys are becoming a verb.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
Radwood,
Yeah, it's super. I don't know. It's kind of incredible to see and like be part of and everything. And I think we're all just grateful. And it does. I mean, it's hard. It gets harder to say this every year because it is becoming more acceptable to like roll around in a 80 Supra and actually people look at it and be like, that thing's rad. Where I don't know, 10 years ago you'd be like, oh, look at that old car that guy's driving. Kind of like it's just like it was just an old car, right?
Yep.
And you didn't get as much like in my 944 now, it's like more beat than it's ever been. Like my car is trashed, but every time I drive it, I get people giving me thumbs up and like, nice car, nice 944. I've had that car for 8 years, and I've had 944s for the past 20 plus years, and I never got that response. But
JP,
it's like,
it sounds
now
like
I
he's
do.
building value in his garage, right?
Yeah. I wish, man. If I had a big garage, and yeah, exactly.
Just increase the value of his assets.
Just, yeah, right. I wish, dude.
So what's in the future? I know you've got a handful already planned for this year. Do you
Yeah,
wanna
we
just
missed
shout
you.
out some dates and cities, or
If I knew the dates, I would shout them out.
You wanna give us a month, like another month.
I know that August 28th we're going to be in Chicago,
Okay.
and
What's
then
the backdrop there? Do you know?
that is really
is it
cool.
announced?
So yeah, we're up at the Waldron parking deck. It's above. It's at Soldier Field.
Oh,
and
wow.
it's right on the water there. It should be really cool. It's this big round parking deck up above with the city in the background, the skyline,
Oh,
and
that's gonna be
everything.
really, really
so
cool.
it should be awesome.
JP and I look forward to not being there.
I know, dude. I've never been to Chicago, so I'm excited to go there.
Well, if you're going in the fall, what I've heard, spring and fall are amazing, and stay out in the summer and stay out in the winter.
Yeah.
So I think you guys are gonna have a great time. And
Yeah.
I bet you get a great response up there.
Yep.
There's
And
a lot of cars in Illinois.
Oh yeah, for sure. And we're going to we're doing Pacific Northwest show. We're going to be at
Oregon or Washington?
We're going to be in Washington, and we're doing that at Dirtfish Rally School.
Oh.
So, and I've been
That's
there
JP's
before.
home,
It should be really cool, and they have that big barn and stuff. And
I don't know where that is, but that's about 8 lakes from where JP grew up.
Yeah, it's right outside of Tacoma, Washington, and all. I mean, it's 30 minutes out. It's 20 minutes. I drove there last time I was in Tacoma.
Near Tacoma. It's north of the city. It's northeast of the city.
JP says it's northeast of the city, so yeah.
But
On the east side out.
jeez, listen to this guy arguing with me. But I did drive there when I was in Tacoma, the aroma from Tacoma, and it only took like 30 minutes. Yeah, look at this. So yeah, it's pretty close.
Northeast of the city.
Okay, but yeah. So outside of Seattle, then we were just based in Tacoma, so that's my reference. Because we
First
did
time there, right? First time in
and we
Washington?
did a show in. I've been to Washington like once before, but I
Radwood.
did. Oh yeah, first time in Washington, first time
Yeah.
Pacific Northwest, and this will be our second time.
Oh, cool.
So we did it at the LeMay. Is it LeMay? At the LeMay in Tacoma, and that was a really cool thing. Last year.
They're pretty fanatical up there, right? There's a lot of that's a
Yeah.
big car culture. I mean,
Yeah,
that's where
huge
JP
car
hails
culture.
from. That's
Yeah. Mixed and not. We were trying, man. We were trying. I think we did, JP. I think we hit you
JP will
up,
hook that up for you. He'll call his bro.
and we said, JP, hit up Sir Mix-a-Lot.
2 days before you're like, hey,
Shake that healthy butt, is what we said.
Yeah.
And he didn't shake it. Yeah. Yeah.
JP will make the call.
But yeah, we have a bunch of
big
shows.
great endorsement to have it because he's not just a figure. He's instrumental in the car culture. What's the
Yeah,
name of
yeah.
his place, JP?
Yeah.
He's got that like bar, warehouse. What's his business up there that you filmed at?
no, that's not his.
Oh, that's not his.
No,
Oh, it's his
no,
friends.
That's just where we shot.
I thought
Yeah.
I literally thought it was his business. Okay, sorry. I
No, but
misunderstood.
he's
I
obviously
only watched the episode like 3 times. I
he
haven't seen
raps
it
about Gambalas and stuff. So he's a car guy from.
Mondial and a bunch of other
Yeah.
He dropped the Bidner's bumper. That's him, right?
Yeah. He's into it. So, but yeah, we have a bunch of shows coming up.
All right, so Chicago, Washington. What else is
Austin is coming up before the end of the year, and then also LA is going to be a huge one. So we have LA November 20th, I believe.
That's right
And,
before the car show, JP. That'll be right before LA car show.
Oh, okay.
Or
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
the same weekend, maybe within a week.
It's very close.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it should be right there.
And we have not announced the location yet, but that should be announced shortly.
Cool.
And that should be
You
a
want
really
to
cool
debut it
show.
on the show? Only 3 people will know.
No, I'm not confident yet, but we have some really cool stuff. We might have some really cool acts performing there and stuff. So it could be a really
Tony
cool
Hawk's
show.
coming out of retirement. He's gonna jump over his 944.
He's gonna do a 900 over my 944.
Yeah, exactly.
Jumps minis.
Yeah, but it should be a good year. And then hopefully we're gonna try and lock down a date in Philly.
Philly would be crazy.
Soon, because that was one of the Austin date. That's a
doesn't
great question. I would love to answer that.
Find it on the website.
Yeah, it's on the website, radwood.com.
Yeah.
Radwood.com. All the dates are on there right now, but we have not locked down Philly, or we want to also do a show in the South Carolina region as well, because we owe those people shows that didn't happen when the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
So
Well, they
Yeah.
canceled. We were going to go with the Road Scholars people for what's the name of that show?
Luft?
Luft, yeah, Lufticult. Lufticult got canceled, and that was
Yeah.
going to be in Raleigh-Cary area where the Road
North
Scholar
Carolina,
guys-
right?
Yeah, North Carolina. But it's, it's 2 hours to the border, and you're
Yeah.
right there. You go to Charleston. You go to, what's the place where Vanna White's from? I forget.
Whoa, you know where Vanna White's from, huh?
It's, I
Interesting.
can't think of it now. My mind's drawing a blank. But anyway, the beaches down there in South Carolina are gorgeous.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
if you guys go down, you're going to have a blast. You're going to have a
Cool.
blast. People are so friendly.
Yeah.
All the girls are cute. You'll have a good time.
Nice. Yeah, I really want to make it down there. Just haven't. Yeah.
So this is epic, man. You guys are going to have maybe not a record number of cars today, but possibly you had a record number of reservations and spectators.
Yeah, we're doing great. I mean, it's an awesome show. I think there's so much pent up demand for something like this,
You
and
can feel it. The energy's good.
yeah, you can feel everyone's just so
Everybody's so
stoked. Like
excited.
I've had so many people come up to me that have been to previous shows, and it's like, man, I've been waiting for this for so long. It's
Yeah.
I'm just so happy,
Yeah,
basically
yeah,
like
yeah,
walking
great.
around with like ear to ear smiles and stuff. So.
And you probably see people that you haven't seen in a year.
Oh
before,
yeah,
right?
it's
I mean, that's-
it's so amazing. Like we have friends here that, they drove out from Phoenix to come here, and they go to like all our shows, and I haven't seen them in a year and a half.
Well, we had a grip of 3-4 cars that came out from Vegas to come to the thing.
Oh,
so
yeah.
they all came out in Porsches.
That's
so
rad.
it's some of JP's posse, our friends from Vegas are here.
Cool.
Solomon and Jason and a few other, Mario and Sean.
Yeah.
They're all here. So the
Yeah,
guys all
there's,
came in. They drove out. They came up the coast. And we went to dinner last night in San Francisco, and they're bragging about the roads and how much fun they had.
Yeah.
They came up from the coast up towards Alice's and then
Oh,
down into
cool.
the bay. And they're like, those roads were amazing. They're like,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So they're all stoked to be here.
That's
They
cool.
couldn't wait to come out.
Yeah, I
so.
talked to a guy this morning. He has a white Scirocco over there,
Uh-huh.
and he shipped the car from Chicago
Wow.
to here. He had AutoWorks Detailing clean it up, and then he brought it to the show. And
It's impressive, man.
Yeah,
People put the
there's-
effort in to come hang out,
for sure, there's
Gotta
a
make you feel
big,
good.
and there's a bunch of guys from like VW Vortex, like the Car Lounge, which
Yeah.
is a old school forum that's been on there forever. I think there's like 20 guys here from that, and they're from all over, the country.
We have seen there's a early Mark II GTI in silver that's one of the nicest cars we've seen. There's at least 3 Jetta GLIs that are Mark IIs, right? And they're all beautiful cars. I mean, I've been impressed. The Volkswagen turnout's pretty good. There's better Volkswagens
Yeah.
here than you see on BAT.
Yeah, there's some good stuff here for sure. I haven't even scratched the surface yet. Have you been back in this back lot over here
did,
where
yeah.
Kit is and
there's
stuff? Yeah, it
some-
looks pretty
some
good.
Cool cars. You can see the Porsches that the Vegas guys brought. They're right there on the end. That's Solomon's.
Oh, cool. Yeah, his blue
Solomon's
one.
blue 84 Mexico blue.
Uh-huh. I remember Solomon's car. Wasn't it at Radwood at the Phoenix Club?
It was,
Yeah.
Rad 2, right,
Yep.
at LA. That was that. I commonly, when people talk about Radwood, I usually tell people that was the most fun car show I've ever been to. Now,
Yeah.
which is different from, say, like the greatest car show ever.
Yeah.
I mean, you pretty much have to say that Luftkult 6 at the
Universal.
Universal Studios, right?
Yeah.
That was pretty easy to say that was the single greatest car show of all time in scope and size and just provenance and just all the cool things. But nowhere near as fun.
Yeah.
It's such a stuck-up show.
Yeah,
Even though obviously I love Porsches, it's just it's like calm down, everybody. Whereas at Radwood, it feels like everyone here is here to have a good time. Nobody is stuffy. Nobody's just out there with their diapers and their pleated pants or anything like that, unless they're doing it ironically.
Yeah.
You've got Chad who drives a turbo.
Yeah.
But he's dressing up as an 80s dentist. He's not actually stuck in that. Like, one of the questions I wanted to ask you, and you kind of touched on it a minute ago, about how these cars used to be kind of inexpensive and nobody really paid attention to them before. You guys noticed that 80s and 90s cars were coming up, and if it's my understanding, that was because that's what kind of the youth culture could afford. Those
Yeah.
were the cool, fun cars. All the boomers and the Gen X's and the Gen Y's were kind of buying the older stuff, the 60s and 70s cars. And now there's a shift. We're certainly seeing that on all the auction sites like BAT and Rad
Yeah.
for Sale and all that stuff. I mean, the sheer value of metal in this parking lot has gone up exponentially. How do you feel about all that?
I know, isn't that crazy? You know what? I look at it in a positive way, really. I mean, even from being a person that wants to buy more of these cars, it's like they've gone from being relegated as just, crappy crap box cars that didn't deserve to be fixed and were more deserving of being parted out or thrown in a given away if the transmission went out, right? It was like, oh, that car is not worth fixing. Now in my mind it makes these cars worth fixing and worth keeping alive, and I think that's what these cars need, and I always throw it back to my big example is like an E30 M3. 12 years ago, those were like $8,000 to $12,000 cars all day long. And even then, you were kind of like, I don't want to buy one. That's kind of a risky purchase because an engine's $12,000.
Yeah.
So you're like, whatever. I'm not going to buy that. And they were all kind of getting tattered and beat up, and they were kind of disappearing. People were crashing them and stuff. And now they're worth something, and they're worth putting money into. They're worth making nice again, right?
Yeah.
So you see a lot more nice examples, and I think cars like the 944 are following suit, where for a while it was like literally in my neighborhood there was a guy that lived in his 944 and he had a padlock as a lock on the door, right? And now you don't really see that much. You see the guy fixing it up and making it nice, and he doesn't have like the Kragen fog lights on it and stuff. He's kind of like preserving it as a nice car.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that, and I think the rise in value has helped these cars be respectable, and
How about as far as is there a concern that there's a barrier to entry now? There used to be a youth culture that was like, okay, I want to go ahead and get a Mark II Jetta or something like that because it's only a couple of grand. But now, what are those young?
I know,
kids
but now they're 6, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, is it really that much money, or is it? I don't know, or have they just caught up with inflation or something? I don't know.
I mean, I can remember a time in my life where the difference between a $2,000 car and a $4,000 car, that 100% increase, made the difference of being able to buy the car or not.
That's true, but that was probably in your day because you're like really old, so that was like the difference between like 1,000 and 1,400.
Yeah,
right.
That's true, exactly.
I mean, it's like it's kind of
well, I mean, let's adjust it for real dollars, right? I mean, okay, so whatever the number is now, when you're a kid working at a Subway sandwiches or something like that, and you've got your first job and you're learning, it's pretty tough to save up money to get your first car. And if you want something cool, it's are you able to get an 80s or 90s car, or now is it just better for the kids to? Is there going to be another culture? Is there going to be a whole nother show that's going to spring up about early aughts cars?
There will be.
Yeah.
But it'll take time for that to happen too, right?
Yeah.
We're still in the infancy of this kind of generation of the Radwood era of cars, kind of reaching their peak.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to take time, but right now those are the cars that, a 2005 whatever is a car that is just a car, right? So and it's kind of like this has happened throughout the ages, with cars, and I think right now there's still cars you can get into for relatively low prices, and I know like I bought my first. I mean, how much was your first car, JP?
Oh my gosh! Literally, it was $1,000, an 850 Sport Fiat Spider.
Okay. Yeah, and my first car was like $700. It was '79 Volkswagen Rabbit. But I don't know. Relative, what is that today? I don't know.
Well, I did see a 850 Spider on BAT recently go for like $13,000.
Yeah.
And it's still not worth it. That thing is such a hunk of shit.
Yeah, those are piles. I mean,
I pushed it as many miles as I drove it.
But you have more story. You have a lot of stories with that car
it's
too.
True.
So.
It's true. One thing that's great about having a shit box when you're a kid is that when you're out on a date and you know that your car is going to break down, you just want to get yourself parked somewhere with your best girl. And just, sorry, the starter's out. I guess we'll just have to wait till the tow truck gets here or something. What are we going to do for a half hour?
Yeah.
let your imagination
Yeah.
go wild. So that's the appeal of crappy cars there for the young
Yeah.
kids that don't know. These kids that are getting brand new Prius and whatever fancy electric cars, they don't know the advantages of driving a hunk of junk.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean,
We see all kinds of cars coming to Radwood. Obviously, you've seen Vectors and F40s and all these really cool 80s and 90s exotic stuff. But the thing that I think that gets more attention when you walk around, it's kind of cool to see a clean Saab 900 or something a little bit more obscure that's really
Yeah.
not worth that much. But what kind of cars are you excited to see when you come to a show that you haven't seen already?
there's a really cool there's a blue Civic in the back by the DJ over there, and it's like a 1980 Civic. And the thing, I mean, I didn't look at it closely, but it looks like pristine. You're like, someone preserved that car. It's not like, they didn't have an SI back then or anything very crazy. And that thing's like, was that person, whoever bought that car, preserved that thing and kept it the way it was. And that's amazing to me. And I remember at LA, one of the last LA shows, at the Peterson, there was a Mitsubishi Mighty Max, and the thing was like immaculate. And you're like, imagine that, keeping that thing pristine.
Yeah.
It's like such a crazy, that's what excites me, really. It's not the pristine like Countach, although that's super cool, but it's that's obviously that's going to be a nice car. Or like that red Ford Probe right there.
Yeah.
Like that thing looks really clean. So, and that's pretty exciting to see stuff like that.
With the auctions blowing up and the values of all the cars just going crazy on the auctions, has that affected your car show, or do you think your car show affected the values?
Oh, yeah, dude.
Come on.
I think it's just I don't think it's I think they just all go hand in hand, right? It's like a bunch of it's a combination of everything, because I think this era was going to become popular regardless. So, like I said, it's just a time thing. So it's these cars are X amount of years old, and this is the time when nostalgia kicks in, and we're all, you and I are like, oh man, I remember, like I wanted one of those so bad. I remember the Pirelli ad in 1986 and and. Oh, dude, I'd dream about that forever, and I'd read the Run Track article over and over and over.
Yeah.
So, but I do think like we might have like helped accelerate it.
Yeah.
But really, it's going to get there. It was going to get there no matter what.
Yeah. It's not a binary kind of choice, right? I mean, the two things are complementary, and that's what I think it's so great about the Radwood show and the fact that all the auction sites are so popular. It's just this organic thing that kind of sprung up out of automotive enthusiasts and that enthusiasm, and that's why we're all here. We all love the cars, and even better, we love the friends that we make because of these cars. And so I've just got to say, as a bid nerd, thank you to you and your team for making Radwood happen and keeping it going and bringing it back, man.
Yeah, thanks, dude.
Great show.
Yeah, and I will say that really, you asked me earlier, like, what is the best thing about these shows? It is the people. Like everyone, it sounds cliche, but everyone's so cool. It's just a happy place basically, and I'm stoked that we're back and able to do these shows now again.
Well, you're wearing a Rad for Sale hat. We're talking about the auction sites like BAT and Cars and Bids and stuff, but you guys have your own auction site. You have Rad for Sale. That's kind of a new auction site.
Mm-hmm.
With having the car shows come back and getting your guys' brand out in front of everyone, that's really kind of a grassroots way to promote that auction site. And it seems like maybe it's been having some issues with because the car shows haven't been happening, but now that you're out here in front of your core audience, what kind of feedback are you getting for Rad for Sale? Are people surprised? They're like, oh, I haven't heard of that yet. I'm excited about it.
I had a bunch of people come by and talk to me and stuff. I think that's the whole goal, and that's what I think will happen is basically, we have all these people here. They're like, oh, shoot, that's here. Radwood is relevant again after being gone for a year and a half. It's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna, we want, these people to sell their car on our site, and then we want to sell cars to people that come to the shows, and in turn, build the audience, and I think that will happen. It'll just take a little bit of time.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, the Rad for Sale platform really makes sense. These cars are so popular. Why wouldn't you have a platform for just that era of cars?
Yeah, and and we do want to sell more kind of stuff too, and that hasn't. I think we probably need do a better job of explaining that. But I think the shows are all.
Explain that. What do you mean you want to sell more stuff? What does that mean to the audience?
We want to sell your Haro BMX bike too. So
if you have an old StarTAC cell phone or a brick phone,
I don't know about that because it's probably worth 50 cents, right?
Is it? I don't know, man. Well, the brick phones are going for a couple $100.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll sell some brick phones.
One of those yellow Walkmans.
The Walkmans are the waterproof ones. Yeah.
Shout out to my buddy Jeff at Mantiques. That's it's like one of these little picker stores. It's like an antique store, but for dude stuff. It's in Las Vegas. It's in the Arts District. It's right by our old studio, and he has a whole section of his place that is devoted to 80s stuff now.
That sounds cool.
And he had Casio calculator watches.
Oh,
and I'm
rad.
like, how much are the Casio watches?
Yeah.
He's like, C-Note. I'm like, what? He's
Whoa.
like, $100. I'm like, they still make them at Walmart. You can get one for
that's
$8.
one thing
He's like, yeah, but that one's real.
One thing I've noticed too is a lot of these companies are, the 90s and 80s are becoming they're remanufacturing all this stuff, right? So they're redoing, and they're all this stuff's being released. Igloo has these super 90s looking line that's out early 90s. If you've seen them, my friend Peter B is walking around somewhere with a fanny pack, and it's a brand new Igloo, and it's bright teal and pink and white, and it's and all these companies are coming, getting back into this kind of this
they're
nostalgia,
sending an
right?
intern into the storage unit and going, hey, see what injection molds we still have for the
and you
90s
see
plastic stuff.
Companies like Gecko are back, so Gecko's making new clothes again, new shirts and all this stuff, and Gecko stuff I wore when I was in 4th grade.
They had a pair of what the heck was it? Gargoyle sunglasses that I wanted so bad, but he wanted $500 for a pair of gargoyle sunglasses.
Wow.
And they were immaculate, but I'm going, I would have sprung. I would have paid way too much for them, but not that way too much.
Speaking of Gecko, see the Gecko gear?
Oh, yeah, the guy's got the Gecko.
He has the Gecko shorts and the shirt.
Oh, he's got the whole ensemble.
Yeah.
Is that, so, hey, dude, in Gecko stuff, so there's a fellow walking by, here, let's see, I'll grab this camera. So, did you buy that outfit brand new, or is that legit old school?
Can you bring her to Heidi?
So he says the shirt's old school, but the pants are new? All right, he's rocking it. Way to rock the 90s and 80s wear. Oh, somebody's yelling. I don't know. Somebody's yelling over there. I don't know if they were yelling at me. Well, Lane, thanks for taking time and hanging out with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
From the show.
Dude.
Plug the things, man.
Oh, man. I mean, everyone here knows radwood.com, but also if you want to buy or sell an 80s or 90s car, go to radforsale.com and, check out for our future shows in the country and hopefully abroad as well.
Yeah. As well as Lane is the host of the DWA Driving While Awesome podcast, which my partner Michael Deeb and I will be on this week. We're hanging since we're here.
You guys are going to be. That podcast is going to air on Thursday, so check out that podcast, drivingwhileawesome.com. It's DWA podcast on iTunes and Spotify and all that kind of stuff, and. John and Deeb from Bid Nerds will be on our show coming out this Thursday, so check that out.
As if you guys aren't busy enough, you have a rally this weekend, and that's why I'm here. That's why I came for this show. I'm going to stick around through the week, and we're going to go on the rally with you guys.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast.
Are we going to have a good time?
70 cars going through the Sierra Mountain Range. Yeah, it'll be pretty fun.
Is my air conditioning going to need to work?
So here's the heat spell was this last week, and it's supposed to cool down. Now, cool down means it's not going to hit 110, but it might hit in the 100 at some places.
Well, that's a cool down for me. I'm coming from
exactly.
Las Vegas,
You're
man.
coming from
it was
Vegas.
120 there today.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But I'm stoked to have you guys here. Bid Nerds is a fun show, so I think I encourage everyone to watch it every morning at 9 a.m., right?
9 in the morning.
Oh,
Monday
let's
through
not say.
Thursday.
Let's say like 9 to
9-ish.
9:15. Sometimes 9:50. We know, whatever.
It's 9 adjacent.
Yeah. It's a fun show though. It's like it gets addicting. You want to watch it every day because you need to see if your bet where if you kind of bet along
the
with
text
you guys.
from you where you're like, I can't believe that card was
Yeah.
much. Yeah.
Yeah, it's super fun, and you guys are fun personalities on the show. So
Well, and we
congrats.
don't know a damn thing, so everyone looks smart when they come on the show, and we do
Yeah.
appreciate you coming on all the time as well.
Yeah, and Deeb has cool solo pants.
Solo cup pants.
Yeah, so
Someone was rocking an actual solo cup too. I don't know where it went.
Wow.
But,
It was Bradley.
was
Cool.
it Bradley that had the?
had the
Yeah.
solo cup.
Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, he is a respected journalist. He
Well,
probably
yeah.
found that in the journal. Is there a media booth somewhere with the lobster bisque?
Yeah, we don't have that
buffet?
yet.
No, you haven't done that. No.
I hung out in that thing at Lift 5, and that was fun.
The media tent
But,
at Loop 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all
Actually, it
dirty
wasn't
in
that cool, but anyways.
All right.
Well, yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. There's my brother and his
Thanks for
wife.
taking a minute. Oh, hey, look at that. 914's in the house. All
He
right,
actually
guys.
has a 911
he has
and
a
a 944. So
he has
and
all
and a
of
rabbit. And then my other brother has two 914s.
Oh, okay.
Sounds competitive, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Keep tabs.
I only have one Porsche.
Only one. Wah, wah, wah. But he
All
has
right,
a
guys.
cool website. All right.
Well, this kid's like patting my shoulder.
Go
so
do
there
the
you
things.
All
You
right,
got
thanks for
stuff to
having me,
do.
guys.
All right, thanks for hanging out. All right, guys. Well, this has been a very special edition of Bid Nerds at Radwood. We are live here in, where are we at? San Mateo?
Yeah, San Mateo.
San Mateo in the Bay Area. Here
County
doing the
Fairgrounds. This
Radwood.
used to be Bay Meadows. This was a horse race track, and it was all stables. I mean, it's so nice to be here, and it doesn't smell like manure.
So you were standing over there by the Lamborghini that's trying to show up my
No, I was not.
Maserati.
I was standing by your Maserati because there was a small crowd of guys that I thought were extremely interested in the car.
Hmm.
And as I got over there, I realized they just wanted to do the lines of cocaine that are on the dashboard.
yeah.
Yeah. So they were like,
yeah.
are you guys sharing? And we're like, no, it's for sale. You can
Did
buy it.
you just tell them it was cut with Drano? They should be fine with that.
Oh yeah,
it's a good
okay.
kid.
Kids
It's a
these
good
days,
kid, yeah.
that just makes it cooler.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, we're gonna take a little break. We're
Let's
gonna
eat.
go off air for a little bit, but we'll be back in about a half hour, maybe an hour. Hit us up on the gram or any of the places and let us know if there's any cars that
Yeah.
you want to see. We'll go out and maybe walk around and maybe try to get some footage of that. Hit the subscribe, like, and notification button if you
Yeah.
haven't already for Bid Nerds, the daily nerd out on the most interesting cars of the day. And
Tune
all
in
the
again in about an
automotive-
hour. We'll come back
Yeah,
on.
we'll be back in an hour.
Come on.
Thanks, guys. Let's see if we can hit see you later. Thanks for watching. Let's see which
Do we do the bumper?
Get the bird! We'll be back on. How you doing? I don't. But I'm sure you could go sit in it.